big guys cash out, and the rest of us just wait in the dark.
Yeah, y'all know what happened. Y'all know what happened. And it happens often, way too often, that sometimes we just got to talk about it. There's been grand openings, and then there been grand closing. And then we have accusations. Accusations? We have accusations. Yes. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not that good with words, but it's crazy that these trucking companies, they always find ways to miraculously buy another trucking company, but can't somehow, some way give us truck drivers much better livable wages. Trucking back in the day was the premier job to get into. Back in the day, truck drivers made money. I don't know how they made money, but they made money back in the day. Trucking not only is the maybe number 2, number 3, number 4 dangerous jobs to have, but it was also the number 1, number 2, number 3 profitable jobs to have. But now in the modern era, in 2026, trucking to some people, it's considered a joke now. Now, there are drivers out there that's making money, or at least they claim they are. And there are trucking companies that's still in business today that are treating their drivers well enough so they can have a livable wage. But let's talk about Werner Enterprises.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Now, Werner Enterprises is like one of the 1, 2, 3, maybe the 4th largest trucking companies out there, next to the Swift Knights, next to the Snyders, next to whoever else is out there. Used to be U.S. Express, but now U.S. Express is part of Swift Knight. Werner announced a while back, because I'm just now talking about this, but this has already happened. But they announced that they are acquiring dedicated carrier FirstFleet for $245 million.
$1 million.
Let me say that so you guys can understand what I just said. $245 million. Let that sit for a minute and resonate with the drivers that hears this saying there's, number 1, a driver shortage, and number 2, the average driver's wage is between 40, 50, and 60 cents a mile. This company just acquired FirstFleet for $245 million.
Werner officially acquired FirstFleet. FirstFleet is a best-in-class dedicated carrier with a 39-year history built on integrity, safety, and service.
Thanks, Derek. I'm Paul Wilson, the Director of Sales and co-owner of FirstFleet. With an eye toward FirstFleet's long-term future, we wanted to find a strategic partnership that ensured a strong foundation for our company. Werner was the perfect fit.
FirstFleet definitely is a big player in trucking, retail, food and beverage, long-term contracts, stable lanes, and predictable routes. That's the kind of freight carriers love right now. Now, Werner says the deal strengthens its dedicated portfolio. More contract freight, they says. More control. Less exposure to the spot market. And of course, that's from a corporate standpoint. It makes sense, right? $245 million to acquire FirstFleet makes sense.
$1 million.
See, dedicated lanes means guaranteed revenue, less vitality, better planning, happier customers. Executives frame it as a strategic growth. Shareholders, what they hear is stability. The investors, what they hear is future profits. What I hear is all this is for the company. I don't hear anything trickling down to the driver as far as them getting paid more money. I don't hear that. But everybody else, profits, stability, growth, yeah, it's good for them. And on paper, it looks smart. But see, drivers, that's where the story ends. And that's where the problem starts. So drivers, what's funny, actually what is wild to me, is how these companies suddenly find hundreds of millions of dollars when it comes time to acquire another company. Crazy, right? $245 million.
$1 million.
Again, like I said, let that sit for a while. $245 million.
$1 million.
They was able to find that. They was able to say, oh, cool, we're going to spend that money for FirstFleet. But think about this, though. Let me take a time out for a minute, because if they had $245 million just sitting around, couldn't they use that same $245 million to trickle that down to giving drivers better pay, especially for drivers with maybe 5, 10, 15 years of experience? Maybe drivers that been driving with them for a while, maybe they could have had that little bit of trickle down. I'm driving for Werner for 5 years, and I come to find out in 2025, because that's actually when this happened, maybe early 2026. But like I said, this video coming out afterwards. I'm driving for them making anywhere between 50 and 60 cents a mile. And then all of a sudden I get a letter, or I get a call, probably a Qualcomm message. Hey, everybody, listen up. We just acquired FirstFleet. And with that acquisition, we're going to have more freight. We're going to have more work. We're going to have more lanes for the drivers to do. Oh, okay. How much? $245 million.
$1 million.
Say, is we going to see a raise in that anytime? No. All you're going to see is more work, more stress, more problems, but no more money, though. You're not going to see that. What I'm hearing is what you're telling us is that you can't afford the raises. Margins are too thin. The market is too soft. Freight is down. Fuel cost is up. Equipment cost is up. But the check just cleared just fine for $245 million.
$1 million.
Acquisition. That's diabolical work right there.
Hold on. My main question is, what is the starting rate for a driver that got 10 plus years?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to depend on the position you go on to. Everything's going to pay a little bit different. Plumbing account out of Salina, Ohio, getting home weekly. They are at 68 cents a mile, doing around 1,800 miles a week.
Okay. Now, as far as home time, is it a full 2 days or is it 34?
No, it's a 34-hour reset.
Okay, what you got as far as full 2 days?
The only thing would be that home daily, but you do have to have a hazmat endorsement to get onto that one.
Now, what about what is for if I wanted just to do regional over the road? Then how much would starting pay be for that?
Yeah, 48 state over the road is going to be less. They're at 50 cents a mile right now, out for 3 weeks and home for 3 days.
Out for how many weeks? For how much?
Out for 3 weeks. Out for 3 weeks and home for 3 days, and they're getting 50 cents a mile.
I just mentioned that I was over 10 years, right? I did mention that to you.
Yeah,
right?
That's with your experience. Then.
Yeah. 50 cents.
Yep, the 50 cents is with your experience.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest about what all this really shows. The money is there. It always been there, but it's not there for us, the drivers. Drivers get told to tighten their belts, but companies get to loosen theirs though. Drivers' pay gets frozen. Executives, they get growth and announcements. Drivers, we get told to be patient. Companies, they move fast when opportunities come knocking. And that was an opportunity, a $245 million opportunity that Werner couldn't just let slide by. Because think about this. If Werner hadn't acquired FirstFleet, I guarantee you super carriers like Knight Swift, they would have came in and probably sucked it up, probably for a lot less money too. Think about it. Swift Knight has a lot of carriers up under the umbrella. And as a matter of fact, one of those carriers, Abilene, just got migrated into Swift. There's no more Abilene. None, period. Company, trucks, all that is going to be Swift trucks now. And everybody that's inside has to find some way to migrate into the Swift side. Same thing with the drivers. Now, I don't think the drivers is going to be affected in that change right there, but we talking about people that's like dispatchers, recruiters, managers, and stuff like that. They're going to have to coincide with Swift. But listen, though, this isn't just Werner. It's the whole industry. The whole industry. See, when freight is slow, we suffer, and we suffer first. When freight recovers, the drivers wait last. But what about the acquisition, though? Those never seem to wait. Here's the part that nobody don't want to say out loud. Dedicated freight only works because drivers accept the rates. That stability they're buying is built on predictable labor costs, fixed routes, fixed schedules, fixed pay. And that word fixed almost never means better. Dedicated doesn't mean driver friendly. It means company friendly. It means the carriers know exactly how much they're paying the drivers, how long they can keep paying you, and how little they can raise it without losing you, driver. So when Werner says it's a strategic acquisition, I hear, hey, we found a way to lock in profits without changing drivers' pay. See, you just don't drop $245 million unless you're expecting a return.
$1 million.
And drivers, I'm going to tell you right now, that return isn't coming from no fuel savings. It's not coming from the equipment. It's going to come all from that labor that you put in, from drivers running those routes every day. And that's the part that feels so grimy, drivers. Because imagine what even a fraction of that $245 million could do. Think about it. Better CPM, better detention pay, better bonuses. That's not even smoke and mirrors. And benefits that don't even eat half of your paycheck. But instead, drivers, the message stays the same. Be grateful that you even have a job. See, we're not blind, drivers. We see it. We see the writing on the wall when it comes time to company closing. We see the writing on the wall when it comes time to companies acquiring up other companies. We see the less pay that we're going to get. We see the press release. We see the mergers. We see the growth announcements. And we all look at our pay stubs and think, I'm the problem. The industry loves to talk about driver shortages. They really do. That's the first thing they always go to. Well, the industry says by 2000 and whatever, it's going to be a major driver shortages. But in actuality, they spin like their drivers are more disposable, which we are, because, again, for every one driver, there's about 10 other drivers that's ready to get in that seat. But you can't cry broke and shop luxury at the same time, though. It's the priorities, and the priority is clear. Growth over people, growth over drivers, expansion over pay, assets over the drivers. So yeah, from a business point of view, this deal, $245 million to acquire FirstFleet, that makes plenty of sense. But from a driver's point of view, it ain't nothing but another reminder that when a trucking company says we can't, what they really mean is we won't. And drivers are just expected to just accept it. And that's the part that should stick in every driver's throat.